Hi everyone, welcome back to another Random Sam Epic Mom. Today is going to be a cooking one, and we're doing lasagna. Now, it's really easy to go to the store, buy some lasagna, throw it in the oven. God knows I do that a lot. But every once in a while, my kids demand homemade lasagna, the little stinkers. So, to start off, you need to fry up some meat. Now, I am going to end up cooking double what I'm going to need for everything because, unlike most people, I have to make two different lasagnas. One is going to be gluten-free, the other one regular. But, doesn't mean they're both not going to be delicious, so. What we are starting off with is 2 pounds of ground beef. Now, when you guys are frying up your ground beef, you can do a lot of different things. You can season it, you can leave it plain, add some minced garlic, pretty much do whatever you want with it. Big thing is that if you season your meat now, you're not going to have to do as much seasoning when you start the lasagna. And like I said before, 2 pounds of ground beef is going to take a little bit of time to get it all cooked up properly. So, if you're smart, like I usually am not, but did this time, defrost the meat the night before. Alright, so now that we have our ground beef done, we're going to put that aside in a bowl. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are like, okay, well you got your ground beef, that's all the meat you need. No, it's not. It's really not. Next, we will be doing 2 pounds of Jimmy Dean's Italian sausage. And yes, it needs to be Italian sausage. Now, all the health fanatics are going to say, drain your meat, get all the excess oils and such out. And I'm going to ignore them. Because having a little bit of that oil still on it makes it easier for cooking. Also, I like the flavor. Alright, now that we've skipped some time, we again have done 2 pounds of meat, this time our sausage. And I am going to reiterate, Italian sausage, guys, it's already seasoned, all that. And no, for you health nuts, I am not draining the grease. Now, although this meat is very hot right now, as you can see, what we're going to do is before we actually get into making the lasagna, we're going to mix all this meat up. You want as small chunks as you can get. Just mix up the hamburger, the sausage, just get it all mixed up. And this way, instead of doing one layer of ground beef and then one layer of Italian sausage, with it being mixed up, it seems to taste a little bit better. Or at least, I think it does. So, on to the next part. Alright, so now that we have all of our craziness kind of put out here, we can get to work. As you can see, I've got 2 containers right here. And everything's been separated, half here, half here. Now the reason that is because I have to make 2 lasagnas, like I said at the beginning. One is gluten-free, which we marked GF. We'll also do that on top of the tin foil when we're done. And one will be regular. Now, one of the things that a lot of people will be asking, because in a family of 7, only 2 people have celiac disease. And yet we're making the same size lasagna for both. The trick is that one of the people with celiac disease is a teenage boy. Trust me, I need the whole pan. Alright, first things first. I am not spraying this pan. I am not doing anything like this. I am using one-time use, disposable ones, because I like having them deep like this. Also, it means less dishes for me to do. Or more importantly, for my teens to do. Now, one of the first things we do is we pour spaghetti sauce on the bottom. About a half a can for each one, so 1 can for the first layer. Spread it out. Yeah, just make sure it's all covered up. Now, one of the things that a lot of people don't think about is whenever you're doing a project, this, having them this close together probably is not a good idea when they start going higher up. But just to start with, we're going to be lining the bottom here. I'm sure anybody watching this is probably going to be like, why is she going to all this trouble? Why isn't she just eating gluten-free the whole thing? Well, I don't want to. I particularly do not like the taste of gluten-free noodles. It's okay in a pinch, but if I have the choice, I don't want it. And that's really all that needs to be said. Now, there are some health issues that some people will tell you, oh, it's not a big deal. But if you do not have a health reason to be eating gluten-free, it can actually cause some problems in your system. I'm sure there will be a lot of people who will get on and say that I'm full of crap. That's okay. I don't care. Now, as I said, we're just doing basics right here. While you are making this, one of the things that you might want to consider doing is heating the oven up. Because there's no point, getting all this done and then being like, oh crap! Yeah, that's not warm enough. And yes, I am breaking extra shells just so to fill in the little spaces. Again, my choice. I get to do what I want. Alright. Next, we're going to need 2 large spoons. And since I was silly and forgot to get out one of the ingredients, that's okay. So, the reason for 2 is because you're going to use 1 spoon for the regular, 1 spoon for the gluten-free, because even though they're the same ingredients that you're going to be scooping, you don't want a chance cross-contamination. My kids are unlucky enough to be, not only have celiac disease, but have a severe form of it. So if they get any wheat into their system, oh, that's not pretty for anyone. So, this My personal lasagna, and again, guys, when you're cooking at home, it's all about preferences. This is my preference. You do not need to make it exactly as I do. Now, we do the tomato sauce, some noodles, and then we're going to do a layer of regatta cheese. Now, some people will take their cheeses and blend them up, mix them. I'm lazy. I'm not doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use almost this entire container to spread a layer of regatta cheese on it. And you will only put regatta on the first layer. Once we are done with this one, we'll do the other one, obviously. But we will be using 3 types of cheese in this lasagna. Our first layer will be regatta. The next layer will be cottage cheese. But on each layer, we're going to be sprinkling mozzarella. So pretty much this is going to get you plenty of your dairy intake. Now, here's something to think about. If you're one of those people that doesn't like to buy Tupperware a lot, or you're always going through stuff, save this, wash it, whatever. If not, throw it away or use it to gather up your trash. Everything's stable. Now, then we'll go through the same process over here with the regular one. Now, if you want, you can have a box or a just regular, grocery bag, just to put all your trash in so you're not leaving a huge mess. Me, it doesn't really matter because I have children. And it doesn't matter how well I clean, they're gonna make a mess. Now with these type of pans and everything, I used 2 pounds of regatta in each one. And again, if you're one of those people who you'd like to just mix all your cheese up into one thing, all power to you if you don't want to use a lot of cheese. Again, this is your preferences. Because remember, I don't have to eat your lasagna and you don't have to eat mine. Now, although we didn't mix up our cheeses, we did mix up our meat. So you gotta figure in this lasagna recipe, you're gonna get in each one of these about a little over 4 pounds of cheese and about 2 pounds of meat. Okay, I like cheese. Now, here's our meat mix that we did earlier. Both Italian sausage. ground beef. And you're just gonna shake it about. You don't need a full layer of meat, just wall to wall. Just get a good, decent amount. And you know, if you want to be stingy with this first layer just to make sure you have enough for the second, that's fine too. Because you will end up using all of this meat, I guarantee it. Now, as I stated before, I'm using ground beef and Italian sausage. If you have a preference, like if you're one of those people that likes turkey meat, all the power to you. If you're one of those people who want to do tofu, please don't do it in this. But like I said, it's preference. And as you can see, we're just kind of sprinkling. Now, before we put any mozzarella on, we're going to do diced tomatoes. Now, we're using Great Value brand for a lot of stuff, for just Members Marks, stuff like that, just because it's a little bit more affordable. These are petite Italian style tomatoes, which means they've got the basil, garlic, and oregano already in it. The reason I'm mentioning this is because some people will make a layer, then put a bunch of seasoning on it, do another layer, add a lot of seasoning, and they forget how much that seasoning is going to affect it. So I'm a very big proponent of, if you want to season the meat, season the meat. One of the reasons I use the Italian sausage. Probably should have grabbed a better can opener. These are the large cans, which are 28 ounces. You're going to use about 2 cans for each one. They have put on the list can opener. Now you can drain this or not, again, personal preferences. I usually drain a little bit of it off just to give it some juice in it. Alright, so now what we're going to do is put the tomatoes on. Again, we're keeping just a little bit of the juice, not all of it. Hope I don't cut myself with this lid, but you never know. Alright. Now the reason it's going to take a can is because once you get most of the juice out, there is not a ton in each can, but there's enough for each layer. Now, I know I have already stated this to you guys, that you should have the oven going. And this is advice I need to take since I completely forgot to put the oven on. $3.75. again, in case you did not notice, I am using separate spoons just to, again, make sure there's no cross-contamination. Now this is going to pretty much cover all the food groups. So you've got your noodles, which is your carbs and all that, your grains. You've got your dairy and the regatta, cottage, and mozzarella cheese. The tomatoes technically are a fruit, but you're going to also have, well, we're having salad with this, so that covers your veggies. The meat is your protein, which is very necessary. Sorry guys, I'm a meat eater. And then, just for extra carbs and grains, you're also going to have, if you're lucky, some garlic bread. Now, if you forget to get something like garlic bread for gluten-free kids, toast with garlic on top of it. That's my cheater method. Alright. Now, just basic mozzarella cheese already shredded to save me a little bit of a workout, or more importantly, to keep me from telling my kids to shred me some cheese. And although you're not seeing them right now normally, the kids are part of this process. Both my older two usually like to do this with me, but they've decided no, they don't want to be on camera today. Now next we're going to be putting on another layer of shells. Alright, now this next part is, again, personal preference, guys. You can either put another layer of sauce on, or you can do, I don't know, keep it dry. This time, just, do things a little bit different. What we're going to do is we're actually going to skip putting the tomato sauce in between the layers, just because we use some of the juice from the diced tomatoes. So again, very basic, very easy, go through both things. Now, this next spot is the cottage cheese. This one is great value, 4% milk fat with the small curds. I like the small curds. And again, one of the reasons some people like to do the cheeses blended is because they don't want little curds. But again, personal preference, I'm cool with that. These ones are actually 3 pound, containers. And I do that for a reason. Because even though I'm not going to use all 3 pounds on each one, my kids love cottage cheese and it's just a nice snack to have occasionally. And if I leave some for them to eat afterwards, they don't give me any trouble. Well, not as much trouble. Okay, they're kids, guys. I'm not going to lie and say they're perfect. They're mine. I mean, come on. So, as I said before, you just do a layer what you're comfortable with. And as you can see, I'm just moving around like a chicken with its head off again. I mean, really the only difference between the first layer and the second layer is the type of cheese. That's it. Also, the cottage cheese spreads a little bit easier than the ricotta. Now, normally I would say clean as you go, but I'm just not up for it tonight. So, again, we've got our cheese on. Nice layer. Oh, shoot. As I make a mess of my house. Now, still got plenty of meat, so what we're gonna do is just try and keep it even. Doesn't need to be perfect, like I said. And this is just a very, technically it's a very healthy meal. It is a little bit laborious to do it, so I don't do it all that often. It's usually just cheaper and easier to get a frozen one from the store. But, like I said, I've got to occasionally do something nice for the kids and for me. Again, scatter of meat. You don't have an entire, wall-to-wall thing of meat. You could if you wanted to make more meat. Sorry, my dogs are idiots. Alright, so, once again, we are going to take our tomatoes with some juice in it, not all the juice. Quite a bit. This is going to actually help keep it from being too dried out. Which you wouldn't think it would get dried out with this much cheese in it, but it does. It can get really dry. And if you put too much sauce on it, it can get really soggy. I will say this though, whatever leftovers you have, always heat up really well. A lot of stuff you'll make it and then it just doesn't taste right afterwards. It doesn't heat up very well. So, So it's kind of nice. That baking means that the oven is ready whenever I get done. Alright. And you might not notice it because, you're looking at it, but with as much stuff as we put in, we put a lot of space in this. So, if we were using just a regular one, we'd be at the top trying to keep things down. So, we are once again on top of our tomatoes, we are doing some mozzarella. Now, the mozzarella, again, is great because even with the soggy tomatoes, it'll help keep it together when you're scooping it out. No, puppy, this isn't for you. Go lay down. Final top layer of noodles. Used up our meat, we've used up our cheese for the most part. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take another can of tomatoes. Now for the top layer, I end up using an entire can, unlike the bottom layer. Some of the reason is some of this is going to go down, so it will congeal and make it a little bit easier. is my own recipe because I don't know how my mom makes hers. I never paid attention when I was a kid. And I just took a basic one that my mother-in-law did and added what I wanted into it. Which is all you can really do in life. You know, adapt for your own taste. Just as I expect my kids will adapt theirs to their tastes. Now, we've got this layer on top of tomato. What we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle a little bit more mozzarella. Because guess what, guys? Your arteries aren't clogged enough yet. Now, in most of the other pans that you'll use, if you don't get these really deep ones, all of this would be right at the top of the pan. It would make it a little difficult and it would overflow a little bit while it's baking. The juices might still do that in this one, but with these, it's not as likely. It's got a little bit more space. Now, next thing to do. Now, if you look, this one sheet isn't going to go all the way across without it bubbling up on the side. So you're going to need two links to overlap. One of the other things that you can do by doing this is give it a little bit of an air pocket. You know, so it's not directly on top. It can go up a little bit. Now on all of these lasagna boxes, the noodles, it'll say how long to put it in there for. It even gives you a very basic lasagna recipe on the back. And most of them will differ in the time setting and how long to leave them in there. Like one noodle will say 75 minutes, the other one will say 55 minutes. So I usually meet them in the middle and do 65 and check how it's doing. Hey baby girl, you're on camera. This is our regular one, but if you pick up that pen right there, we will mark on the one that you were standing next to that it's gluten-free. I know, but if you put the GF on top also, it's easier to see. And we put the GF on the bottom there to begin with, so when we take the cover off. No, I gotta cover over it. Just a second. You're getting hungry? Well, then you can have a very small snack because it's going to be an hour for this to cook.
Hey, what's the snack maybe?
I don't know. Well, look. Maybe an apple. Alright, so these are going to go in the oven, 375 for 65 minutes. Can you go open the oven door for me? That's a good idea. You definitely don't want to burn yourself.
And also it's very warm, so it's really to touch even right there on the outside.
Well, that's why we preheat this, because they are very warm. Alright. Set the timer.
How'd you get these?
At the store, hon. And we'll show you the finished product soon enough. Alright guys, this is so far what we've got. We've got garlic bread cooking right now, so as soon as that's done, we'll get it out, let that cool for a minute, and we're going to have these go back in for 5 more minutes. It just kind of crisped up the cheese and such. But as you can see, they're looking pretty good. So again, we've got 3 minutes just over for the garlic bread, and then we've got 5 minutes with these cooking a little bit more. All right, our garlic bread, both regular and gluten-free, is done. We've got these in for 5 more minutes just to kind of crisp up the top. And I present to you gluten-free and regular. These are heavy. Guys, just a reminder, we've got at least 2 pounds of meat in each one, 3 to 4 pounds of cheese, plus potatoes and pasta. This is going to be a filling night. Hopefully everybody will sleep real well after this meal. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching me make this meal. Again, do your own variety, season, meat, whatever you want to do. It's all about personal preference with me and everybody else. So, have a great one. Remember to live each day to the fullest by finding the fun. And go out and eat something good. Bye, guys. Hey, guys, what do you think of the lasagna?
Tastes good.
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.